Will it run NR2003? At today's episode, MS-DOS. So MS-DOS 6.22 was an update of DOS, which was a command line operating system that Microsoft had been using since the 80s. This one was compiled around 1994 and was one of the last versions of DOS before they started transferring to Windows. So DOS is essentially the back end for Windows 95 and Windows 98. And since we've run NR2003 on Windows 98, I suppose we could try and run it on DOS. The reason why is because DOS, the operating system, still did its job. It still did the file systems, it still did all sorts of different tools, but Windows 98 and Windows 95, they were just a pretty shell for people to use, essentially. So is it gonna run? No, and I'll show you why. Alright, so notice how in our VM here, we're in the patches folder as we normally would for NR. And this program cannot be run in DOS mode. So the program itself says, nope, we can't run in that, we need Windows. What does our patches folder normally look like? You guys are probably used to seeing something like this. So we have our fixes here for the patches, and these are just simply applications. The application will flag in the binary after it's been compiled that it's not supposed to be run in DOS mode. And since we're in DOS and we only have DOS, we don't have Windows, this won't run. And I can show you an example of how the binary works. And I can't really do it with this, it's too much of a pain, but we can do one of the applications that I wrote. Not expecting you guys to understand this, but as you can see, my up to par program that's on GitHub has in its ones and zeros, this program cannot be run in DOS mode. So when I wrote this program, I compiled it to C++, and it does this. What's important is it will not let it run in DOS, so we have to run a different simulator. And yes, we can. There it is, folks. NASCAR Racing 1. So we can't run NR 2003, but we can run NR1 from 1994.